Hi, this is Vallisa from Lyca Radio, and today I'm joined on our Lyca Radio YouTube channel, of course, at Lyca Radio UK, alongside our sister station Lyca Gold. And today I'm joined by Abhishek Jain, who is a film director and producer, but also a businessman. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Welcome to Lyca HQ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, I want to give a bit of a background about you. You're born in Ahmedabad.
Yep.
You had a BBA in business, and
Yeah.
then you went into filmmaking.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
It's a long story, but to cut it short, I was doing theater in my childhood as an actor, and I realized I'm more keen to do something in the public arena
Mhm.
and into expressions and communication and storytelling. And after my BBA, I had to get into MBA, but I thought I'll not join my dad's business post that and maybe do something of my own and subscribe myself to a couple of booklets on filmmaking and all of it, and came across some admissions and about the film schools, and that's when I joined the film school. That's how the journey started.
So you've got a business mind and a creative mind all mixed together.
Yeah, I think in today's time you need both of it.
Definitely. And then after you finished film school, you assisted Sanjay Leela Bansali on films like Guzarish, Savaria, Yuvraj. And then you went on to become an RJ at Radio Mirchi. So you basically were doing our job. Tell me a little bit more about that journey.
So right out of the film school, I realized that I was too young and naive to really mount my own film. So I need to go and assist in the practical world. So I was fortunate enough to assist the likes of Sanjay Leela Bhansali and Subhash Ghai on bigger projects and got a great exposure on that and learned a lot technically as well coming out of the film school. And then I realized, okay, now that I know a little bit of it, maybe I want to go back to Gujarat and tell stories in Gujarati language from what I've been brought up with. And that's when I went back and started doing my research bit and setting up my production company. And while that was happening, someone just conspired to rope me into radio, which I'm not meant for radio, though I think people have come back to me saying that probably your voice was meant for radio, but whatever was the reason. And I started doing radio shows, and I was doing this show called Purani Jeans. And it was of my inclination because it talked about films and it played nice old gold songs.
So it mixed that film sort of mind in the radio mind as well.
Yeah.
And then you decided, well, you made your debut film, which was called Kevi Ritan Jase, and that was in Gujarati. What made you decide to make Gujarati films and not Hindi films, considering you were working sort of in Bollywood anyway?
I think when we were in the film school, we were constantly told that the films that you make or your expressions, your communication have to come from what you're born and you're brought up with. And all my life, I've lived in Ahmedabad and I've come across a lot of friends and others in my neighborhood who were desperate to go to the USA. And I always found this very fascinating about their fad for going to the USA, and especially there is a particular community who have thrived a lot in the USA, and I thought, okay, I want to tell this story. And when it came to making my own film, I thought, what is a story that hits me, maximum? And then I got into making Kevirite Javish.
And at the time, was there a big sort of community of filmmakers in Gujarat, or did you find that it was quite
Oh,
difficult?
not really, not really. I mean, Gujarati films have been thriving back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, but post that there was a certain downfall. Not many people were willing to go to the cinemas and watch Gujarati films. And I mean, we were also one of those, I mean, part of the generation who have not gone and watched Gujarati films in cinemas. So it was difficult because there was no ecosystem. So when I got into making Gujarati film, I realized that I need to really start from the scratch, get the right kind of people on board, convince them that, okay, we are making a Gujarati film, because that was the toughest job, to convince people that we are making a Gujarati film and you are supposed to be part of it. So yeah, that was like difficult. So I usually tell people that I'm a director by choice, but a writer, producer, distributor, marketeer by circumstances.
And Giri Jase was very successful. In fact, it perked up a lot of Gujaratis to start watching Gujarati films again. Tell me a little bit about the script and what made you decide. Obviously, you said you knew a lot of people that wanted to move to America, and that's what the film was about. But you showed a very raw Gujarat. You showed something that people. The first scene you were saying to me was someone drinking by the pool, which is seen as a bit of taboo, really, because it's not supposed to be
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah. But I think when we set out to make this film, we were very clear that we want to make this film for the multiplex audiences, the
Mhm.
audiences who go and watch a Hollywood or Bollywood film and pay whatever amount of money for those films. We want them to pay for Gujarati film, and you could only do that when the subject is relatable, when the presentation of the subject is relatable, and which is a voice of the youth. And I was 24 when I made this film, and this is the Ahmedabad that I had seen. This is the Gujarat and the Gujaratis that I had known, so it was quite natural of me. But yeah, back of the mind, it was always that we want youngsters to get attracted to Gujarati films. And I very strongly believe that if you want to keep any culture alive, we have got a biggest tool called cinema,
Mhm.
and through that medium, you can probably keep your culture, your language alive.
Definitely. And then you had Wrong Side Raju. Now, this won a National Film Award for the best feature film in Gujarati. How did that make you feel?
Oh, I was really glad because I think after almost 2 decades, the Gujarati film got a national award.
Hmm.
And obviously, getting a presidential award is the biggest thing that you can get in India. And I was glad for the fact that someone out there is acknowledging our work, apart from only the audiences. And the interesting part of it was that usually the national award ceremony takes place on the 3rd of May. So we went for the presidential award. The next day morning, we were in Delhi. Obviously, we were receiving the award, so we were in Delhi, and we get a call from the PMO, the Prime Minister's office, and they expressed that after almost 2 decades, a Gujarati film has got the national award. So the PM would like to felicitate you and would want you to come over and meet you.
Wow.
So I said, wow, that's great. I mean, I was like, is this for real? And my mom and dad were with me, and they were so excited because it was like,
It's a big thing.
meeting PM Narendra Modi in his office on his invitation. And okay, that is the fascinating part of it. But the good part is that, you know, someone who's like the prime minister of your country, who's like loved by so many people,
Hmm.
he is thinking about a Gujarati film who's won a national award and is thinking of felicitating that filmmaker only to encourage him to make more and more
Yeah.
Gujarati films. So I cannot forget that moment when I met him for the first time, and he knew everything about me and my journey, and that was quite good. I mean, I think national award is a big thing, and yeah, so yeah,
And it goes up, even though it was best film in Gujarati, it does go up against some big films as well.
yeah,
So to win that is a massive accolade.
yeah, it is.
And we're going to talk about a platform that you've got. But before I ask you about that platform, I want to ask you, do you believe there is a big appetite for Gujarati films in this day and age?
Uh, I think there is a huge appetite of anything which is colloquial, which is culturally ingrained, which is rooted, because we are a diversified culture and we have got like smaller pockets of culture everywhere around. And the only way you can kind of unite yourself with other people is by representing your culture.
Hmm.
And we can all see in last almost a decade or more, people's inclination towards going back to their roots, learning their own language, following their own culture has increased.
Yeah.
And that, I think, a lot of credit goes to the audiences who have started loving their own stuff. And also a lot of credit goes to the people in the media like us, be it radio or cinema or music. They've all tried to come back to their land and speak in their own roots. Maybe it can be the folk music, it can be a contemporary
Hmm.
film or a radio which is playing multilingual songs.
Yeah.
So I think this is a trend, and we should all be very happy about it.
And it's interesting because even within Gujarat itself, you can literally go next door to the neighboring town and their culture could be different to the town next door, right?
Yeah,
It can be very different.
like you and me, you can speak Gujarati, understand Gujarati. I can speak and understand Gujarati, but the way you say it, "Kevi rite jai se,"
Mm.
and the way it is
Yeah.
"Kevi rite jaish,"
Yes.
so that's different. But the communication is same, the
Yeah.
emotion is same.
And you can still sort of understand what's going
Yeah,
on there.
absolutely.
And do you feel that's the same for Gujaratis outside of India? So do you think that Gujarati cinema is still relevant for them as well?
So we are close to 80 million people across the globe. And I think what binds all of us together is our love for the land, our love for the culture, and our love for the language that we all speak.
Hmm.
So I think it's unanimously everywhere there.
And then you actually went on to direct Rajkumar Rao and Kriti Sunun's film Hum Do Hamare Do. What was that experience like?
It was an amazing experience when having made Gujarati films and suddenly you have a bigger audience that is making a Bollywood film with these stalwarts, was a great experience because I was coming from developing an ecosystem and
Hmm.
now going into directing a film for an industry which is already set.
Yeah.
So I felt very privileged. I was like, I didn't have to run around doing things for my own self. There were people who were helping me. There were crew and the cast, and they were all like together trying to make a good film. And our film was a family film, so we were all very happy to communicate that message out to the people.
And so now let's get back into the business side of stuff, because you were doing films, you were making films, and then you decided to put together this platform called Oho,
Yeah.
which is, well, tell us a little bit about that platform and what it is.
So Oho Gujarati is like it's like how Netflix in the world is.
Hmm.
It's an OTT platform. In the same way, we have our own Gujarati language OTT platform. It's exclusively Gujarati language OTT platform where you get all kinds of Gujarati language content, be it short films, documentaries, web shows. The idea was that there are so many stories that we all have as Gujaratis to tell. You cannot only rely upon making theatrical films or making plays out of it. You can
Yeah.
also explore longer formats like web shows. And we launched this platform on the 7th of May 2021 with our marquee show called Vittal Tidi, which stars Pratik Gandhi in it,
Hmm.
the Scam 92 fame. And we got a great response. And we realized at that moment that the thirst of watching content in their own language is ever increasing. The more you keep on serving people with their language content, they are there to grasp it. So yeah, Oho's journey so far has been great.
And so you already mentioned there's films on there, there were web series in there. I think I saw there was music on there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So is there anything else you're going to add to that platform in the future?
A lot of it. I mean, suddenly in India, the gaming and the sporting events have increased. So we
Hmm.
may get into sporting and gaming. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it.
And where does that content come from? Because obviously you make your own films, but where does the rest of the content come from? Because it's all Gujarati content.
So I have always believed in being part of an ecosystem and trying to grow as an ecosystem. So we do not completely rely on creating content for our own selves.
Hmm.
We actually also commission a lot of content, and we also buy content from outside, and we also, help people. I would help probably is not the right word, but we also try to align ourselves with those people who want to make something, want to tell a story, and ask them, grant them a commissioned project, and then they make it and they give it back to us. So that ways, I think, you're increasing the number of branches that probably you could have instead of just being one long tree.
And you know how obviously Bollywood is in Hindi and Gujaratis generally can understand Hindi. They can also understand English. Would you consider maybe dubbing Bollywood films into Gujarati to put onto the platform?
I think that would be a futile exercise because since we can all understand Bollywood and Hindi language and rather English also now these days, reading the subtitles and
Hmm.
watching anything is very easy. I would rather want Gujarati content to be dubbed or subtitled in other languages. So think
Yeah,
about a Gujarati program running in South Korea with South Korean subtitles or dubbed
that would,
in
yeah.
South Korean language. Now that would be like real outreach of a Gujarati content.
Definitely. And if people want to watch content on Oho Gujarati, how do they do that? What's the
Oh, it's
easiest way?
it's the easiest way is to go on to a web browser, type www.ohogujarati.com, and go in, have a look, whatever you like, you can click, and then the first episodes are for free to view. Once
Hmm.
you like it, once you sampled it, you subscribe, and the subscription amount I think is like only £40 a year. So the annual subscription is £40, which I think is quite affordable for anyone
Hmm.
who's staying here or outside of India.
Yeah.
And that comes like a pound, more than a pound a month, which this is the least that one can do for their language.
And is it available all over, like
It is a
in?
global platform. It is available on iOS and it is available on Android. It's available on website. So yeah, and one can cast it on a bigger screen. So yeah.
And currently, where do you find that your biggest audience is? Is it in India, or do you find that you do get a lot of outside of India
No, for
audiences?
now it is majorly India because that's the biggest pool of
Yeah.
audience that we have. Now we are also trying to make our outreach possibly here in UK, USA. We have also got subscribers from all across the globe. But yeah, the number, if you're talking about the heavier number, is all coming from India.
And the content that's on there, does that also have subtitles? Like someone like me who may understand part of the Gujarati, but maybe bits would get lost. Is it all subtitled, or is there
All
parts
of
that are
it.
subtitles?
All of it is subtitled in English, and this was our attempt back in 2012 when we made Kevirati Jaish. We released it with English subtitles
Hmm.
because I wanted the Gujaratis like of yours to really watch this content and understand a couple of words that probably you could pick a new word after reading the subtitle, and you would find that word very fascinating. So all of the content is subtitled in English for anyone to view it.
And anyone who's watching this right now, why would you tell them to watch Oho Gujarati?
uh, Leave the business aspect alive and aside. Actually, I would really want anyone to go and watch any content in Gujarati language. I'm
Hmm.
not specifically talking about Oho Gujarati, not here to promote that also. But I think, how we take pride in the fact that uh, we are Indians, and how we kind of feel that the South Indian cinema has come so far and ahead, how the Punjabi cinema has come so far and ahead. It's really the time for us as Gujaratis to go out and create some noise. And you could only do that if you know what exactly is happening in Gujarat or around the world with Gujaratis. And secondly, if our next generation is not adapting this language,
Hmm.
remember one thing: the language doesn't need you.
Yeah.
You will need the language.
Hmm.
So it's better that you start adapting them in your life.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a lot of as well like Gujarati supporting Gujaratis
Yeah,
because the Punjabis support Punjabis. That's why their films do so well already.
yeah,
And then the South, they all watch their
yeah,
own language
yeah.
films, and so the Gujaratis need to start because the only way to get other people to watch is if they watch it themselves, right?
Yeah, adding a little to that, because it all trickles down to some business. Because when you're creating content, you're spending money, and if you are not getting equal amount of response, you'll stop creating content. And the moment you will stop creating content, we'll go back to the times when in the 80s and 90s there was not many Gujarati films being released. So it is a lot of responsibility
Hmm.
as creators as well as the audiences to really keep all of this alive, at least if not for your own self but for the coming generation.
And obviously, you're working with Oho Gujarati at the moment, but are you working on any other films at the moment as well?
I'm currently mounting and writing my next Hindi film, and yeah, all the focus is on Oho Gujarati and the Hindi film that we're doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here
Thank
today.
you so much.
And we look forward to working with you a lot more.
Yeah, thank you so
Brilliant.
much.
Thank you.